Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about Yaeno Muteki. This character is going to be a person from the hit anime Cinderella Grey, which means that I believe a lot of you will be very interested in her, right? That's the power of being in an anime. In addition, this horse will be rerun with the old cards of Twin Turbo Speed SSR as well as Ines Fujin Guts SSR, and I think you guys are quite familiar with them because they've been around since the start of the game, so we will just go and cover them a little bit and explain whether this banner is worth pulling. We'll start off with Yaeno Muteki first. This horse comes with a 20% power bonus as well as a 10% guts bonus. With a turf of A and a dirt of E, this horse is really kind of locked to the turf A turf positions. She's also going to be played mostly in mild because it's B, medium because it's A, long is E and short is G, so you would have to go through quite a bit of effort to force her into those positions. Strategy wise, she starts with F in front, A in pace, A in late, and a G for the end closer position. And then we move on to the unique. It is called the Peerless Dance of Flowering Flames. This is a unique that activates if you have overtaken, so there's an overtaking check. In addition, it must be done at the final corner, and it will activate at the last 300 meters. If you are in the front of the pack, that is a 4, 3, 2 or 1 position to activate this unique. It will activate for 5 seconds and gives you a 0.35 target speed. This character is very okay, I would say, in terms of giving you that final speed, because it is a 0.35 final speed. If you were to look at some of our modern day uniques, you would see that most of the time it's going to be 0.45 as the significant number, right? Later on in JP it will be 0.55, so that will be something else. So this 0.35 is not going to be anything too crazy for this Yaeno Muteki. It is going to make her pretty okay for a lot of CMs, where if the final corner is near the end, she will be able to get basically something like a Narita Brian proc, where it will give her a pretty decent amount of finishing speed, and that could define whether you win or not, because finishing speed is very good when you are even with the other guy, neck and neck. Right. After that, for her innate skills, very similar to her Yaeno Muteki power card, which is used commonly for parent farming, it will give you a lot of the skills that you saw in that card. For example, ramp up is one of her innate skills. She also has pace chaser corners because she's mostly focused for pace chaser, and from her events she gets stuff like playtime's over, ramp up again, home stretch haste, which are very common from that card also. For her innate awakening skills, she has fighting spirit, which is a recovery and speed boost as long as you're in the 6 and 4 positions, right? For your It's On, it's going to be golden ramp up. Corner acceleration is going to be a corner acceleration, obviously, right? And then unyielding is going to be a way for you to basically fight an opponent at the final corner. This horse is very similar to quite a lot of horses that just want to fight each other and also enjoys final corners. Now we move on to the support cards. For the support card that we'll first talk about, we'll talk about our Twin Turbo. Twin Turbo is a speed card from the start of Umamusume. She was very overshadowed by Kita-san Black, and for good reason. This card is basically a bit more front runner focused and was one of the only ways to get golden early lead, which is called taking the lead in the start of Umamusume. But due to the release of the Mihono Bourbon SSR with card, which is very important, and I hope a lot of you managed to get it, this card has already fallen off significantly, right? Especially since if you look at the 3 chain events for this card, you will notice that the 3rd chain event is not even guaranteed. It will literally just give you a chance of getting either early lead hint 3 or taking the lead hint 3, and it's basically, oh, you went through all that effort and she just gives you early lead. Holy shit, right? While Mihono Bourbon Wit will give it to you guaranteed, and it's also a free card from a event as long as you participated in the event, right? So definitely Mihono Bourbon Wit is a very good card for the front runners. In fact, it's probably one of the most important wit cards for a lot of the front runners. So Twin Turbo already has fallen off significantly. If you're very desperate and you really want to get golden taking the lead and you are tired of borrowing the Halloween Bourbon, that is one of the very niche scenarios that I think you can consider trying to get the Twin Turbo. But do note, you can miss, because the 3rd chain event is not guaranteed. Alright, I'd rather you stick with getting the Mihono Bourbon Wit even if you have to borrow it, because golden taking the lead is extremely valuable for a lot of the front runners. Right, so now we move on to the next card, which is going to be your Ines Fujin Guts, which is essentially the Kita-san Black of the Guts position. This card is effectively the exact same in Kita-san in almost every way. If you look at the specialty priority of this card, it only comes in once you get to limit break number 3 and limit break number 4. It also comes with a training effectiveness of 15%, right? You also have a friendship bonus of 20%, very very low. If you look at the stats, almost exactly is roughly similar to Kita-san Black. But this card is very notable during this time here and may be notable in the future as well. It's just that there will be better cards in the future. It's just that this card is very very notable for giving you a very rare source of Restless. Restless is a unique go skill that reduces fatigue on an uphill. You can only get it if you are S. Maruzensky or you have the Mayano speed card. So these are the only two other ways to go and get this go recovery. It also has a lot of very decent skills like Slipstream, Playtime's Over, Speed Eater, Fast Paced, which are very very solid skills for front running. And notably, this card also comes with a speed bonus of 1. So this is basically the ideal Guts card because it helps you to max your other stats, right? You can help to get a lot of extra speed by clicking the Guts. You also want to raise Guts a little bit sometimes because when you want to max your speed and power, sometimes you just need to squeeze it a little bit, but you don't want to commit a third speed card. Then Guts is the perfect card to go and shove into your deck because it will give you that little bit of speed while pumping up your Guts so you can do your dueling later on. You will find that Guts cards will be used quite frequently the deeper we go into Umamusume, just because we want to kind of click the Guts cards every now and then in order to kind of raise the stat a little bit for our speed and our power. So this card is really really good. It's just that unfortunately because it's paired with Twin Turbo, I just cannot recommend this banner at all. And notably the Ines Fujin card is not really the greatest card that scales into the future, just because SP bonus is going to be way more important than speed bonus the deeper we go into Umamusume. After Make a New Track, everyone's stat line should be relatively around the same or very very high, so that means that SP is going to be a very defining factor for whether or not you're going to be winning more often or winning less often against your enemies, right? So that's why these cards are kind of going to be power crept already. There will be plenty of better options. In fact, Urara, the free card, is actually going to scale much better than this Ines Fujin card, which is a very very fun fact. You will actually use Urara during the Arc scenario if you want to, right? Because SP bonus is just extremely powerful, and so that scales extremely well into the future. Ines Fujin doesn't have that, so she's not going to be one of those really really important cards. If you want to get it now, I don't see a reason why you shouldn't, but also it's very very expensive to go and pull this banner just for Ines Fujin. So for the whales in particular, when you're considering this, just take note that you are really only looking at getting more go recoveries for something like Kita-san or for your Seiyun Skies for long CMs only. Alright, that's where you'll be looking at getting this +1 Restless over here. But remember, there's also another way to get it, which is your Mayano Top Gun Speed, which I would prefer you guys to borrow that if you have to. Alright, so that's it guys. That's pretty much the entire banner here. It's a pretty easy skip banner considering the future of Umamusume. I would want you guys to save as much as possible. Don't be greeding for any other extra banners like these, right? There are going to be plenty of really awesome banners, sometimes even 5 or 6 of them in a row, in which case you really have to make sure you have enough gems saved up. So please try to not pull these banners over here until we get to that point. So that's pretty much it guys. Thanks for watching, and I shall see you guys next time. If you're going to be pulling this banner, I wish you the best of luck. Alright, bye bye everyone. See you next time.